This is episode 3 of The Reset with me, Sean Tucker, and I believe you are good enough. You woke up this morning. So many people did not wake up this morning. And the thing I want to start with today, if you want to get healthier, forget the gym. See, most people have an idea that they only become healthier inside of the gym, which for some people that is the case. That is their playground. That's the place that they go and spend time and work on themselves. And I used to be that person. But even when I had my own gym, even when I had it 10 meters away from where I was sleeping, 10, 15 meters away from where I was sleeping, I still didn't actually go in there and work on myself. Why? Why do we do these things? Why do we have to have the perfect environment before we actually start moving towards what it is that we want? You don't need to go to the gym to be healthier. Instead, why don't you reframe it in your own mind to be something as simple as, I am healthy, I am becoming healthier by simply making my body move a little bit more, eating a little bit more mindfully. It doesn't even have to be like I'm cutting out sugars, I'm cutting out all these foods, because reality is, if you make it hard for yourself to follow the process of becoming healthier, you're probably not going to keep at it. You're probably not going to be able to sustain it. And that's what I found with a lot of people that I've worked with, is we start fundamentally by working on their identity. And most people don't really know what it is or who it is that they are right now. And so it's a really good chance for them to pause, reflect where they are, and make some conscious decisions about where they want to go. Because most people are led pretty emotionally. And what I mean by that is a lot of their goals, a lot of their needs, a lot of their desires are coming from a place of an unmet need. And it usually comes from a place in childhood. It's built on an insecurity, which is totally fine. Like for me, I got into working out. I got into working on myself because I felt completely insecure in the body that I have. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point where I am now. And the reason why I share this with you is because it's not the perfect 12-week challenge that will get you the results. If that's the thing that carries the momentum and shifts you forward into believing you can become a different version of who you are right now, then use it as a catalyst. That chemical reaction will change you forever if you let it. But equally, you can reverse the chemical reaction by defaulting back to those old patterns, those old behaviors, if you don't work on who you are. Because the people around you, they have an idea about who you are. Who you are is more of a construct. It's a constructed belief system around who your family thought you were, who your friends think you are, who your colleagues think you are. And just notice the next time you go to like a work meeting, or you go with your friends, or, you share different things with different people. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason you are a slightly different version of yourself when you're at a work meeting versus when you're with your friends. And it comes back to the openness, the willingness to be yourself. Because when you put up professional boundaries, it's like, well, I don't want to be rejected for being myself. So in a context of being in a corporate environment or being in a work environment, you might try and be someone who is likable. And if that's not who you are and who you want to be, well, eventually you're going to burn yourself out trying to be a version who you think you have to be. And so this is where psychology ties so much into who you are becoming and how your body can really help you become that version of yourself. If you're not happy with the way that you look, if you're not happy with the way that your body moves, there's a very good reason for it. Part of you is stuck in the past. And so what I strongly encourage my clients and the people that I work with and the people who do get stuck on this journey is make it really, really simple. Like, you don't need a gym. It's a waste of time. If you don't have time to get a workout in, most people think you need to work out for an hour. That's fine. But factor in, you need to go to the gym, which is sometimes a 5 to 15 minute drive away, sometimes longer, depending on which gym culture you're part of. You know, when you're in your 20s, it's easy. You've got plenty of time on your hands. When you don't have kids, when you don't have all of these responsibilities, you know, you've got plenty of time in your day to go and work out for an hour or two, or, you know, go in and have a sauna and do all these things that make you feel really great. But the reality is you probably don't have that much time. But what you do have and what you can create is a system that allows you to actually create the body that you like being in, the body that you're proud of, the body that shows up regardless, so that your mind can start appreciating and leaning into this space of gratitude. Because you do have a body that is capable. You do have a body that didn't have a gym, you know, 100 years ago. Gyms were not really around, right? It was different. You know, if you don't have direct access to gym equipment or, you know, weights and stuff, what do you have access to? You have a body that has body weight. That's a resistance. Resistance training isn't just working out with dumbbells or kettlebells or barbells. Yes, those pieces of equipment are quite fun to learn, but they're not necessary. And if you're saying, well, I need to go to the gym to get healthy, that's just a poor excuse. So I strongly encourage just to ask yourself, what is it that you really want? Who is it you want to be? Do you want to be a healthier version of yourself? If so, what does that look like? How do you want to feel in the process of becoming that version of yourself? These are the questions that I wish I asked myself when I first started. And they're also the questions that I wish I asked my clients when I first started working with them. How is it that you want to feel as you're becoming? Not when you've reached that goal, as you're becoming, because it's the pursuit of the goal that actually makes us feel good. Getting to and achieving the goal, well, that's happiness. It's short term. Joy is in the process of becoming. And the more you do enjoy that process, guess what? The more happy you're going to be, or the more chances of happiness you have to experience in that day-to-day process. So it's really interesting. You know, you really don't need a gym. And the idea that, you know, you must look a certain way, because if you look at Instagram, if you look at some of these fitness models out there who are leading and guiding people to become best versions of themselves in the way that they look. I remember this one guy a few years ago when COVID lockdowns were a thing. He looked insanely jacked, right? And then he lost his gym. He lost the ability to go to the gym and work out. And this guy became fat and depressed within months of the first lockdown, right? Can't remember his name, but this was his story. He was so caught up in the identity of the gym made him who he was that when it was gone, he didn't know who he was anymore. And he completely lost himself. And this is both the risk, the pro and the con to having a strong identity tied to a place, an environment. Because if you only go to school, if you only learn in school, well, learning only takes up a short amount of time in your lifetime. Whereas if you're a lifelong learner, guess what? You're going to learn it every second and every moment, or use that as an opportunity to learn. So that's really the difference between someone who knows how to be resourceful and someone who just likes to, I guess, pay to have their problem fixed. Most problems are easily solved by realizing that now is the only time you have. And if you really don't have time to work out, to look after yourself, your priorities are probably out of alignment. And there's nothing wrong with that. But simply the awareness is the thing, if you want to change, will be the thing that activates or catalyzes that reaction. So in summary, you don't need a gym. You don't need the perfect nutrition plan. You don't need any meal plan. You don't even need a calorie count. You don't need a gym to look great. All you need is some willingness. And that's pretty much all you need. A willingness to change. Hope you found today's episode helpful. If you have, please share it with just one person. If you can do that for me, I really appreciate having you here. And I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's episode.